Hello America. This video goes out to our subscriber of the month, Justin, because I told him I was building a deluxe crosscut sled, so today I have to prove it. So this is my crosscut sled I just built. It is used for making perpendicular cuts on a table saw. You might ask yourself, why not use a miter saw to make perpendicular cuts? And I asked myself that same question multiple times while I spent the last couple weeks building this. So, comes down to a couple key factors. I love this tool. It works great for making perpendicular cuts. One, you have a smaller cut diameter, a smaller cut width, right? Because you're pulling this down. Now this is I have a sliding miter saw, so you actually doubles your cut width, which is great. But this gets you about 12 inches. I'll cut often 14, 15 inch boards. I'll cut them like 90% of the way, flip the board over, and then make a second cut. The crosscut sled gets me to 20, 21 inches. So again, it's not a huge factor, but it does make a big difference. I usually am in that 14, 15 inch range. The second big thing is depth of cut. That this cuts all the way through. You can't really, because you're doing it with your hand, you can't really set a height. It's very finicky. With the table saw, I can set the height of the blade and make very consistent cuts that don't go all the way through the piece. That is used for dado cuts. Dado cuts being a really easy way to make shelves. If you look at my sandpaper holder, you can cut dado grooves all the way through a piece on both sides, and then stick 1/4 inch plywood in there. And it's a really nice way to make cheap shelves. I also use dado cuts when making the crosscut sled, and that is what gets me the material for the T-tracks. These are inlaid in. So the three features I believe make this table saw deluxe is T-tracks. I have these little tie-down clamps in, and this is great because I don't want to get my fingers close to the saw. So for very small pieces, very finicky pieces, I can secure them quickly and easily with these clamps. I also have a T-track on the top rail. I don't own one, but I can buy a little clamp that actually extends and pushes down from up here as well. That's one issue I do have with the miter saw. It's great for big pieces, but for very small things, it can be difficult to clamp near the blade. So I want to make sure. A lot of people make crosscut sleds and then you see them making them again and again, adding features. I just wanted to make it deluxe from the beginning, so I only have to make this thing once. That's why I did a very large size of the table. That's why I did the T-tracks in it. The way this works, it has rails here, and it slides in the tracks. The reason for a crosscut sled that really comes in handy is if you're cutting a very narrow piece, you really only have to line it on the fence, and it's not very much support, so it wobbles. I actually have, it comes with it, most saws do. This is called a miter bar, right? It fits in that little track there, and it actually provides support. I forget I have this thing. I've actually was doing when I was making this, angled cuts to put a bevel along the front edge here for sawdust catching, and I was just holding it, and I had a lot of difficulty. I forgot I had this. And this does the same thing, right? The problem is it doesn't have quite the amount of support. But you can actually angle this and do perpendicular cuts or any kind of angle with that. I honestly have only used this a couple times. I could have used that this week, but I forgot I had it. But anyway, I have this now, which I probably won't forget about. So it's really nice. Put a piece of wood in here, and I have a stop block. That's the other big feature I wanted. So same problem with the miter bar, right? It's just supporting, you don't really have the measurement. You still have it on the fence, but sometimes it doesn't work on awkwardly shaped pieces, either too large or too small. So this, I actually have a tape measure here and my stop block, and I put it down so you can just set it whatever measurement you want. It's got a readout, tighten it down, and then slide your piece up to it. So you don't have to measure each piece. So it's great for repetitive cuts. I did tune this in. I was cutting a 3-inch piece, and I measured it at my digital calipers, which are very accurate, and I got 2.985, so 1.5 thousandths of an inch. I'm happy with that. That's all I need. The other thing, the other deluxe feature for this is this plate here. As you're making dado cuts, you can use different widths of your table saw blade, or you might angle your blade and then you do more tear out. The larger the hole around the saw blade, the more likely it is to rip chunks out of the piece that you're cutting, called tear out. So you really want to be very close to that blade. That's what they call zero clearance inserts, right? So I made several replacement boards, and these are screws into T-nuts. They actually, I hammered an inserts to the bottom of the board. Here. So, as I tear up this insert piece, I can have different ones set to different widths of blades. 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, 3/4, 1/2 inch, whatever I want. So then I have support. So that'll help this thing last a little longer and still have very clean, consistent cuts. One thing I'm excited to try out is you can use a table saw sled really easily to make tenons for mortar and tenons. A tenon just being where you take like a table leg of a piece of wood and you cut out all the surrounding wood just to make like a tooth that juts in. You can do that using a dado stack. You just set your cross block and you just carve down on all sides. Again, it's kind of tricky to do without something like this, so I'm excited to try that out. This is my deluxe crosscut sled. Justin, I hope you enjoyed it. And if anyone has any more project ideas they'd like to see, let me know. Thanks.